Wow, what a surprise. You all wanted me to do a video on Ledian instead of Camerupt. Am I surprised in any way? No, not really. Anyways, Ledian. What can I really say about Ledian that hasn't been said already? Ledian is one of the absolute worst Pokemon, but you already knew that when you clicked on this video because, just look at its stats. Do I really need to explain why these stats are abysmal? Must I explain why Early Bird is a useless ability and how its decent move pool means nothing when its stats are lower than that of most middle stage Pokemon? No, I do not. Ledian is a Pokemon that has been given so many hypothetical buffs because players want it to be good so they can justify Elite Four Karen's quote about using your favorite Pokemon. Although the topic on buffing Ledian is way too oversaturated at this point, I do want to throw my hat into the overcrowded ring and give my take on how I would buff the 5-star Pokemon. And to start with my hypothetical buffs, I want to start by taking Ledian's garbage stats and tossing them in the trash. For Ledian's new stats, I decided to increase its pathetic base stat total of 390 all the way up to 503. Ledian will now have an HP stat of 83, an attack stat of 83, a defense stat of 70, a special attack stat of 75, a modest special defense of 105, and a speed stat of 90. While I did want to make Ledian an offensive powerhouse, I decided against it as doing so would go against what Ledian was meant to be. A utility mon that has some manageable offenses. Even Ledian's Dex entry from Pokemon Moon supports the idea that Ledian is not supposed to be an offensive juggernaut. While I will provide Ledian a surplus of offensive moves that do allow it to pose a threat, I will also be providing it some notable utility moves as well. But before I show off those new moves, I want to talk about Ledian's awful type combo. Bug Flying is a horrible defensive typing, as its quad weakness to Stealth Rock means Ledian will end up dying before it can even breathe on the opponent. And to make matters worse for Ledian, it hardly uses its flying type because it barely learns any flying moves. Acrobatics, Air Slash, and Aerial Ace are Ledian's only notable flying moves. In fact, Ledian learns more normal moves than flying moves. And after giving it some thought, I decided to replace the flying type with the normal type, meaning Ledian will now be Bug Normal type. Although Bug Normal is less good offensively than Bug Flying, it is much better defensively, as it doesn't have to deal with a quad weakness to Stealth Rocks while boasting an immunity to Ghost types. In addition to not being put into guaranteed KO range, Ledian's Dex entries and their lack of flying type traits also helps my decision in making it normal type. While there is one Dex entry that highlights Ledian's flight, Pokemon like Flygon, Vikavolt, and Venomoth have Dex entries that mention their ability of flight, yet they aren't flying type. And while my decision to minimize Ledian's crippling weakness to one entry hazard seems counterintuitive, as now Ledian is susceptible to all forms of entry hazard, I have just the solution for that. The Levitate ability. By replacing Swarm with Levitate, Ledian will now be a non-flying type that is immune to all ground moves as well as spikes and toxic spikes. Ledian's ground immunity was its only good trait it had, and giving that up for a ghost immunity, while nice, was a rather difficult decision. So by having an immunity to ghost and ground moves with the Levitate ability, Ledian's defensive profile is now really good. And that's just one of 3 new abilities I'm providing Ledian, as I want to provide it Cudchew as a reference to its love of eating berries, which is a normal thing to do after all. And the last new ability I want to give Ledian is Adaptability as a replacement for Iron Fist, because Iron Fist boosted Ice Punches aren't that exciting compared to Stab Adaptability boosted First Impressions. First Impression provides Ledian a strong bug-type move that not only packs a punch, but also serves as priority. Some other notable bug moves Ledian could use to make solid use of would be Lunge and Skitter Smack as more consistent bug stabs that hinder the opponent in distinct ways. Pounce as a form of speed control, Pollen Puff as a special bug stab that can help allies in doubles, and Quiver Dance as a setup move for special-oriented sets. As for Ledian's new normal typing, I want to give it Quick Attack as another stab priority move, Recycle as a move for Cudchew sets, Yawn to put the opponent in a tight position, and Encore to disrupt the opponent. Outside of those moves that would receive stab or are the same type as Ledian, Ledian could also make great use of coverage moves like Dazzling Gleam and Moonblast, which provided coverage for Dark, Dragon, and Fighting types, while also referencing Ledian's dex entries that have the 5-star Pokemon using Starlight Light as a form of energy. Those same dex entries also support Ledian receiving the move Moonlight as a form of reliable recovery. Another move that happens to be light-based would be Flash Cannon, which provides Ledian steel coverage for Rock, Ice, and Fairy types. Another steel-type move Ledian will make great use of would be Bullet Punch, giving Ledian another form of priority. But guess what type outclasses Steel offensively? The Fighting type, and the best Fighting type move by a long shot is Close Combat, which I can see Ledian using as it provides crucial fighting coverage. But guess what Fighting is weak to? The Psychic type, and since Ledian learns a decent amount of Psychic moves like the screens, it should make sense as to why I'm going to be giving it Psychic Noise and Zen Headbutt as Psychic coverage for Fighting types, but primarily Poison types. And lastly, to round out Ledian's buffs, I want to give it Fire Punch as coverage for opposing Bug types, as well as something new. You see, Ledian learns a move called Comet Punch, which is super garbage, as its shoddy accuracy isn't justified when its base power of 18 is so weak. Since Comet Punch is a move that sounds incredibly cool despite how lame it is, I decided to buff the move to 30 base power per hit and have it hit from 4 to 5 times, meaning Ledian now has a stab move that can break substitutes, focus ashes, and sturdy, all the while being more spammable and stronger than Double Edge and Return. With the new base stat total of 503 that has Ledian be evenly rounded, the normal type, Levitate, Clutch, and Adaptability as stellar new abilities, as well as some new moves like First Impression, Pollen Puff, Quiver Dance, Quick Attack, Yawn, Encore, Moonblast, Bullet Punch, Close Combat, and a newly buffed Comet Punch, Ledian is no longer one of the worst Pokemon in the entire franchise, and is instead a solid Pokemon that offers great utility to a team while having offenses that, while not immediately threatening, are still something to be wary of. But those were the buffs I would provide for Ledian. What did you think about these buffs? Let me know down in the comments below, and while you're down there, why not join my team by subscribing and heading over to my community tab and choosing which Pokemon I should buff next. It will be really cool. And big shout out to It's Ya Boy Bo for requesting Ledian. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you later.